Snow day or to not snow day? That's the question many schools are facing this winter as virtual learning has become more common over the past year. But do kids need that time to play outdoors? Joining us live to talk about the benefits of a snow day is Dr. Beresin, Executive Director at the Clay Center for Young Healthy Minds at Massachusetts General Hospital. Thank you for being with us this morning. Let's talk about some of these areas that got over 3 feet of snow. What are the benefits of giving the kids a snow day versus virtual learning?
Well, it's not versus virtual learning. It's an add-on. I mean, we all have Zoom fatigue. We all have exhaustion. It's not easy doing remote learning. And frankly, kids need a break. We all need a break. So getting out in the snow, getting some exercise, playing, hanging out, is really a welcome relief. Just remember when you were a kid and you would hear that snow was coming the next day and you would think like, oh man, let it be over 6 inches. Because you really wanted that time and you need that time. You need to recharge your batteries.
Dr. Beresin, I'd argue this is just as good for adults as it is for kids. And I think you'd probably agree with that. So let's talk about, you mentioned the mental and physical benefits that we can get from these. Give us some details.
Well, here's the thing, one piece of scary news is that kids, Gen Z and millennials, have been more depressed, anxious, stressed, lonely, and more suicidal thinking pre-COVID, and it's been exacerbated during COVID. So we're not just talking about a blank slate here. We're talking about kids who are already feeling the heat of problems with mental health. And then you add to that the stresses of remote learning, and which is very stressful both for parents, teachers, and the kids. And what a relief to have a break. And you know something? What is a day to recharge your batteries? I mean, it's one day.
Why do you think that some schools actually hesitate to give snow days?
Because I think there's a little too much preoccupation with what kids are missing or losing through remote learning. And the interesting thing and the cool thing about being humans, with 100 billion neurons in our brain, each with 10,000 connections, we are resilient. We can make up for what we've missed in development, whether it's social, academic, emotional. It happens all the time. And frankly, missing one day, or even parts of even missing lots of this whole year can be made up in future years. So I wouldn't worry about arrested development. I would be monitoring it, and I would be seeing what your kids have to make up and help them make it up.
You know, we only have about 30 seconds. I mean, I thought they built in snow days to these calendars years. If they don't, should they do that? And then if not, they could just use those days, otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. They could use those days for special projects. They could use those days for certain learning experiments. They could use those days for social gatherings. There's all kinds of creative ways that we can be using the time if we're really thinking about what's most important for our kids' development.
Dr. Beresin, really enjoyed hearing from you and talking to you this morning. Thank you so much. Of course, he's the Executive Director at the Clay Center for Young Healthy Minds in Massachusetts.